Greetings to you, my dear friend, wherever you are. I sincerely hope all is well with you and with your family by the grace of God. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, reading verse 13, Solomon wrote these words. Remember, Solomon was the wisest man who ever lived. He wrote these words toward the end of his life. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. The duty of man means mankind, everyone, is to live in harmony with the commandments of God. And we do that because we fear God. And to fear God is to recognize God for who he is. And the man or the woman who properly recognizes God will respond by obeying God's commands. Now, one of God's commands, of course, is the fourth commandment. And this is always the target of these audios. The fourth commandment says, and remember, it is part of the duty of man. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Now let us focus on manservant and maidservant. We may use the terms employees. The Bible tells us clearly, part of the duty of mankind, and particularly employers, is to provide opportunity for employees who desire it to honor the holy Sabbath day. Let me say that again. God requires employers, whether they are Seventh-day Adventist employers or not, because the fourth commandment is for mankind. He requires employers not to stand in the way of those who desire to keep the seventh-day Sabbath holy as the Creator requires it. Let me go beyond employers. God requires professors not to get in the way of students who desire to observe the holy seventh-day Sabbath. It is a dangerous thing, and it puts a person at odds with God when he or she frustrates the efforts of his or her employers or his or her students to honor God's holy Sabbath day. My listening friend, whether you are a Seventh-day Adventist or not, if you have employees, if you are a professor and you have students who are under your authority, the God of heaven and earth requires you to make sure that your employees or your students are free to observe the seventh-day Sabbath, which means for you professors not setting exams on Saturday and not conducting classes on the holy Sabbath day. I'm trying to be as direct as I can, and you employers not requiring any work of your employees who desire to keep the Sabbath, not requiring any work of them on any portion of the holy day. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant. Heaven recognizes the right of employees not to work on the seventh-day Sabbath in order that they might honor God. God recognizes the right of students not to attend classes, not to take exams on Sabbath, in order that they might honor the God of heaven and earth. The fourth commandment again. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant. And I place under manservant, maidservant employees, and I place also under that category students. Anyone under anyone's authority must be given the freedom to observe the seventh-day Sabbath. This is required by God. My dear friend, may the Lord use you to be an instrument of blessing to others. May your presence in someone's life encourage them to honor the seventh-day Sabbath. Do not be a hindrance to someone's desire to follow their conscience and observe God's holy Sabbath day. May the Lord bless you superabundantly, and may he place a double blessing on your children as you keep the Sabbath holy, and by your influence, lead others to keep the Sabbath holy. God bless you.